Hey everybody, it's Casey Williams. I've found over the years that people tend to have two different opinions of the Ford Mustang. There are those who really like the heritage, like the big V8 engines, and just like the little bit of crudeness in that car. And then in the other camp are people who really don't like the crudeness in the car. Well, both camps are going to be very, very happy with the vehicle we have this week, the 2024 Ford Mustang GT. Let's have a look at it. Although it's been recently completely redesigned, there is no doubt you're going to recognize the Mustang for a Mustang. But what I really like about this one that we have, this one has the bronze package on it. So it's just a sense of refinement. My favorite Mustang in the past probably was the Bullet Edition without the rear wing and the classic wheels and the green paint. But this one's very close second, if not number one right now. But look at the styling of it. I love the hair extractor here in the hood, the six headlamps, three on each side, the big grille. But when you look really close, you can see the bronze pony here in the grille. And when you look on the back, there's a bronze GT logo on the back. Come around the side, get the bronze 19-inch alloy wheels. Again, looks very cool. The 5.0 logos, the red brake calipers. I like the paint too. Dark matter gray paint, very cool. There's a kind of a spacey look. But some other things I really like about the design. You know, the traditional long hood, short rear deck continue. But you can also see a lot of the last generation Mustang in this car. And they really did some great things. They made it a little bit lower, at least it looked a little bit lower, a little bit wider, looked a little more Porsche in the way the rear came down. And this one really continues a lot of that as well. The kick-up rear fender that is a traditional Mustang trademark. But come around the back, the big rear wing, the six tail lamps, and of course, in Ford tradition, they're sequential, going from left to right on this side and right to left on that side, of course. But, you know, again, very cool and just some classic Mustang cues. The GT logo with the bronze on it and the quad exhaust outlets. I just love this car. I love the way it looks, and I just like those little subtle styling details on it. One of the complaints from the past for the Mustang was the interiors felt really cheap, felt unrefined, didn't feel like they were quite up to current standards. I think nobody is going to complain about that in this particular car. First of all, the new thing, the twin screen layout, feels very Mercedes, feels very Cadillac the way it is in here. And I think that most Mustang owners, whether you're coming from European cars or you're a Mustang traditionalist, I think you're really going to like how this works. You can press, one of the things I really like, there's a Mustang button right here, you press it. And you come in here, you can select your drive modes. So I go into the custom modes. I've got it normal right now. So that allows, pretty comfortable suspension setting. This has magnetic ride control, so you can adjust the dampers. It also adjusts in real time. Steering feel, again, normal, so it's not as heavy as it could be. And then the traction control system is on. You can put this, there's a sport mode. It'll stiffen up the suspension a little bit, but it's not overly harsh. I've been driving it even on city streets most of this week with sport suspension, doesn't feel too bad. Of course, and there's the track performance. Again, just the suspension, the steering, and the traction control system. So you can go through all those. Also, you can change the dashboard themes. So there's the sport look, there's the track look, it's got the tachometer over the top of it, and it's changing my gauges over here as I do that. Or calm, just kind of takes everything down to the tachometer and the speedometer. Normal, and I had it in sport mode most of the week too. So again, the advantage of a flat screen is you've got almost infinite configurations of how things are. The designers obviously want you to be safe and want you to be able to have good visibility, so they limit it a little bit, but select it however you want to. I think that's very cool. Another thing I really like on this, this has an active valve damping in the exhaust system. So right now I have it in quiet mode. That's what you use to creep out of the neighborhood in the morning. Hit that button, you hear it got a little bit louder. Normal exhaust. I put in sport mode, louder still. And on track, it'll rumble the neighborhood on the way out. So I think that's very cool too. You can select that on top of all the different drive modes. Beyond all that, a lot of really nice things in this car. The Recaro seats, they grip your sides, but they're also comfortable. I like the dash stitching again. It's a designer's car. So the contrasting stitching here looks very nice. Everything's plush, looks nice. The Mustang logo here. Dual zone automatic climate control. This has the B&O audio system in it. Sounds fantastic. My daughter was in here, I was taking her piano lessons, and she has Willy Wonka on the soundtrack, just booming it through the car. Then we got the 10 spot on, and she's playing that. On the way to work, this morning I'm listening to country music. That sounds good too. So really nice. Has wireless Apple CarPlay, wireless Android Auto, wireless phone charging here in the console. Both types of USB ports, you can select those as well. But everything just works out really nice. I like the thick leather wrap steering wheel. This one happens to be heated and has a lot of safety equipment too. Adaptive cruise, automatic emergency braking, lane keep assist, rear cross path detection, everything to keep you safe on the road. Ford started the transformation of the Mustang with the previous generation. Went to an independent rear suspension, really worked on the shift linkage and the way the shifting feels, the steering, and it just became a much more refined vehicle. You could get out of an Audi, you could get out of a European or Japanese car and get into it, and it would, the old cars with a solid rear axle, you go over bumps and the back would just do this, and it was just really uncontrollable, not very refined. Ford made lots of excuses for it. The hardcore people really like it, but at the end of the day, you're not going to attract a new audience. You're not going to make a better car. I think people who have loved Mustangs will still love this one. It's not overly refined, but you go for bumps, it just goes bum, 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 bum. And this has the magnetic ride control, so it's got the real-time shock damping, near magical in the way it handles bumps. You put it in sport mode, it's still stiff, but it's not brutal like it used to be. Also really glad to find a 6-speed manual transmission. It's so hard to find a car today that has a manual. I love shifting manuals, and I really like this one. Very precise. Again, old school, they weren't so precise. This one feels, like it could have come out of an Audi, could have come out, of a Nissan Z. And that's not a bad thing. It just feels really nice. Clutch is firm, but it's not overly heavy either. Drive the car in traffic every day and it won't kill you. So I just really like all this. But I think the thing that Mustang enthusiasts are really like with the GT is the 5-liter V8. The Coyote V8 delivers 486 horsepower. It will absolutely move just exactly as you expect a muscle car to. Gets not too bad gas mileage, 14 miles per gallon in the city, 23 on the highway. Given what this car is, given the performance, I think that's pretty good too. Well, one of the things that occurred to me as I'm driving the Mustang this week is younger buyers are not buying sports cars. They're buying crossovers. Some of them are buying hatchbacks, but most of them are buying crossovers. So for Mustang to stay relevant, it has to offer something that younger buyers really do want and really is enticing and something different, or they've got to make a car that's aimed at a little bit higher income bracket, a little bit older buyer perhaps. And I think they've done all of that with this car. I think with the technology, I think the way it handles, somebody could cross shop this with a Toyota Supra, with a Nissan Z, and that's not a crazy thought like it might have been at one point in time. But again, the traditionalists who really just want a muscle car that looks like a traditional Mustang will be very happy with this too. All that to say, this comes at a price. So the Mustang starts just under $31,000, which again, I think that's with a turbocharged 4-cylinder engine, still plenty of power, plenty of performance, and a really good price point. But this GT with the bronze package, performance package, everything on it, $61,620. So again, not inexpensive for a Mustang perhaps, but I think when you cross shop this against the European and Japanese vehicles, I think you'll find it one heck of a good deal. So next week, we'll have another fun car. Until then, storm forward.